Okay, I hope this is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. Okay. So basically today we will look at the reactions of Grignard reagent as well as the lithium aluminum hydride in the carbonyl compound. Okay. So this addition will be stereoselective in fashion. Okay, let's have a quick recap from the previous session. So you remembered already what we learned yesterday. That is the synthesis of Grignard reagent. That is, you take some alkyl halide, which could be of various types. Then you take magnesium in alcohol-free ether, and then you get RMGX. So that is the Grignard reagent where we see that reversal of polarity takes place, and that is why we call this phenomena as Umpolan. And then we saw various different types of functional groups that can be synthesized through using Grignard reagent, like alcohols, esters, aldehydes, nitriles, okay, various things. So now we will see how those Grignard reagent adds to carbonyl compound, and in this case we will talk about the issue of stereochemistry, mainly the stereoselectivity. Okay, this today's session is also will be very short, not very long. Okay, there are only 7 slides, but it is very crucial. Okay, I will take some time to explain, but also understand a little bit carefully, uh, because this this requires a little bit more understanding. Okay, so I think I told you already about this re phase and C phase. So you already remember what is re phase. Re phase is basically re phase and C phase are considered for a carbonyl compound, for example dialdehyde or ketone or any other uh, species substances. For example, if you take this kind of acetaldehyde, okay, how do you judge which phase is a re phase and which phase is a C phase, or you can call it psi phase, not a problem. So basically you know that this is a planar molecule, correct? Because this is 120 degree and this is already in a plane. So this is a planar molecule. That means it will have two face, the top face and the bottom face. That is the below this screen, below this paper.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So can you use the pointer?
Pointer. Yes, I just remember this. So this is basically a plane. Okay, this and this is basically a plane. So it has then two face, the top face, that is the up side of this screen, and bottom face, that is the below of the screen, correct? Now how do we know which face it is, or how do you distinguish these two face? That is why the nomenclature came up, is called re face and C face or psi face. Okay, how do we name them? How do we judge them? Which one is re and which one is C? So let's say we take this acetaldehyde molecule. Here then you have three different groups. Now you know the priority sequence rule. Considering the priority sequence rule, of course your oxygen will get the highest priority. That is why it is labeled as A. Then the carbon comes here. It is the second priority, considered as B, and this hydrogen is considered as C. Then you see which way it is rotating. So A to B to C. This is anti-clockwise, and that is why it is called as C phase. Okay. Now, if you see from the other side, from the below side of this screen, then what you will see? You will see something like this molecule, where this CH3 will fall in the right hand side. If you see from the below, something like this. So in this case, A, this is B, this is C, and then it is rotating towards the clockwise direction, correct? So this phase is then the re phase. Okay, so now you know what is re phase and what is C phase. Okay, now let's say I use a Grignard reagent. Okay, please understand this question. I use a Grignard reagent RMGX, and I want to attack in this carbon. So then there will be two products, right? In one case, the R will attack from the C phase, another case the R will attack from the re phase. Can you tell me which product will be major product? Did you understand the question? So if I take these two molecules, I mean, this is a single molecule, but there's a re phase and there's a C phase. Now if I attack with RMGX, a Grignard reagent, so from which phase it will attack? So which phase attack will be the major product?
So should it not be equal amounts because the compound is planar, so it can be attacked from either sides?
Yes, excellent. Okay, this is an excellent answer. Yes. Yes, it is very obvious, correct? So there is no distinction. There will be no distinction because the re phase and C phase is equal sterically or electronically anyway, correct? So the attack will be from either side, the attack will be equal. So you will not get any preferential attack in this case, correct? So if, let's say, in this molecule, if the attack happens from the re phase, in this case, let's say this is A, let's say I consider this R prime to be the B and R as the C. So then this is A to B to C, so the top phase is re phase. Then if the re phase attack happens, then your OH will go to the back and the nucleophile will come to the front. Got it? So this R prime nucleophile is coming from the top, so it is on the above plane. OH is going back is the below plane. Now the C phase is then the below side phase is the C phase. If the nucleophile attack from the back side, then OH will come front. So C phase attack will give this OH in the front, nucleophile in the back. Clear? This part is very simple. You will see that they are basically a mirror image to each other, okay, and they basically appear as a racemic mixture. This should come as a racemic mixture, okay. Now okay, so attack from rear C phase is statistically equally likely, as you said. Now there is a special situation where this R or R prime group, if it is chiral in nature, then this center becomes the prochiral center, okay. That means in that case, attack in this re phase or C phase will depend on the chirality of this R or R prime group. What did I say? Again, please understand this part. If you understand this much, the later one will be absolutely easy for you. What I said, let's say in case of H3, if there is a 3 different group, in other words, if this center is chiral center, then this chiral center chirality will have impact on the reactivity of this carbonyl compound. In other words, the nucleophilic attack from the C phase or the re phase will depend on the chirality that is present in the center. Okay, and that is where exactly our session begins. This selectivity issue comes up. Okay. This is what is mentioned here. However, if R or R prime is chiral, then the reactivity or reactivity from the two phases are not equivalent. Then actually the question of majority will come into the play. Clear? Yeah. Please understand this very clearly and please stop me if you do not, if there is any doubt. Okay. Okay, so then there is a rule, it's called Cram's rule, and this rule guides through which the addition, from which side the addition will be measured and which side the addition will be minor. Okay, yeah. What is Cram's rule? Cram's rule say that a ketone will react in that conformation in which the oxygen of the carbonyl group is anti to the largest of the three substituent of the alpha carbon atom. One sentence but says a lot of things. It says the ketone will assume a conformation where the largest group will be anti to this oxygen atom in the alpha carbon. Okay, so in this case, okay, before going there, I want to just introduce these two things you must have studied before, but still I want to one more time just revise. So last time I told you about the Sohor's projection formula in the OrChem 1 classes. So this is your Sohor's projection formula. You remember, right? This is your back carbon. This is your back. This is the front group. This is in plane. This is your back. This is your front. This is in plane. Correct? You also know about Newman projection. Generally, you have seen the Newman projection in this way. Many students, actually majority, I mean more than 50% student, I mean in the last year, more than 50% student wrote this confirmation in a wrong way. So please put attention, because I mean I considered last time, but I will not consider this time. So you have to draw this projection formula correctly, otherwise I will not give you marks. Okay. So this is the Newman projection formula, where this carbon, where these bonds has come, this is the front carbon. I mean this and this is same molecule. This is Sohor's projection formula. This is Newman projection formula. Okay. So in this case, let's say this is your front carbon. So if you translate this one into this becomes your front carbon. In your front carbon, the bond will meet within the circle. Okay. But in your in the back carbon, this one MS and L, this is your back carbon. Here this bond does not cross this circle. Okay, people have made anything like L is coming here, so there is no concept of bonds, no concept of valency. No, please understand these things right now. Okay, so you understood Newman projection formula. So this is your front carbon. These bonds come and meet within the circle. This is the front carbon. In the back carbon, the bonds does not cross. Okay, so you have carbon total valence, 4 valency, 4 hand, you have 3 hand, and then 1 hand which is invisible, which connects. So this bond is invisible. This bond is basically like in a point. So basically how you visualize these things. So basically let's take a torch and shine it from this side, and in such a way that this and these 2 points meet to each other. Then whatever it will show in the wall, let's say you have a wall here, you are putting a torch here, then whatever way it will be projected in this one is basically this one. Got it? In the 3 dimension, you understood? Yeah. Now, so this is basically the carbonyl carbon which has been already reacted with the Grignard reagent, okay, to form alcohol. But before that, it was like a ketone or an aldehyde. So how do we represent here? Carbon is, we do not show the carbon, so please do not write carbon here. This double bond itself means it's a carbon, and these 2 bonds does not meet each other. Okay, yeah, I mean it could also meet, but generally we do not show. Okay. So this is the carbonyl carbon. This could be aldehyde. So this R will be H. If this is ketone, this will be CH3 or any other alkyl groups. And then you have 3 different groups. Let's say a small group, a medium group, and a large group. Okay. Now I will show you one structure. Then you will understand this part clearly. Let's say you are taking this molecule. Okay. Let's say this is your molecule, and this molecule we want to convert into Crumb's model. Then how do we convert? So then this is your carbonyl carbon, this is your R group, and you have 3 different groups because this is a chiral center. So it has to be 3 different groups, a large one, a small one, a medium one. Correct? Now this one we are translating into a Newman projection formula. Everybody understand it? Is it becoming difficult? Until now, did you understand everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Please stop me if I am going fast or slow, or if it is becoming difficult. Okay. Okay. So then, so I translate that compound into this way. How? That this carbonyl carbon now is in the front. How do you know? Because the bond has crossed this circle. So this carbon center is in the front. Okay. Then you have a small, you have a large, and you have a medium group. And the rule says that the carbonyl, the oxygen atom of the carbonyl carbon will be anti to the largest group. So this C double bond O will be anti to the largest group. So you put the L group on the anti direction, means the opposite direction. Okay. And then there will be a small group, there will be medium group, correct? Now, then RMGX, or let's say R prime, because I have put R here. Let's say R prime MGX. Now, which way it will attack? It could attack this way, it could attack this way. Which way it will attack? It will attack, the attack will be more preferable where it is the smallest group. Got it? So this attack will be a major attack. This attack will lead to a minor product. Why? Answer is very simple. We have a small group, so the steric interaction will be less. This is all. Okay, that is everything. If you have understood this much, you can draw anything and everything based on this Kram's rule. Okay. Now a little more is remaining. So if the R prime is attacking from this side, then this O double bond O will become O negative, or let's say OH. So this OH will be towards the left side and R will be towards the right side. So you see OH has come to the left and this R prime has come this side, and here you already have the R. Okay, and S, M and L, wherever it was, we have put there. This Newman projection now you can convert into Sohor's projection formula in this way. So OH, so this is your front carbon, you convert into here OH and R. So you put OH and R, basically just you rotate towards the little bit left hand side. Okay, I mean considering this R, this is the axis, and then you rotate towards the anti-clockwise direction, then it will come. So this OH here, R now going there, that side. Okay, this R coming here, and this S, M and L, it is also coming here. Okay. And what is the minor product? In minor product, R prime is attacking from this side, so OH will be coming to the right hand side. So OH is coming this side, R prime is attacking from this side, R is this side. Okay, S, M and L remains as it is. Okay, so then you can convert this into the Sohor's projection formula. Now it is observed that in this case, this is your more favored product or the major product, and this case it is your least favored product or the minor product. Let's say this is your X person, this is your Y person. When we take the largest group as phenyl, this is as phenyl, M as methyl, and S as hydrogen, and this R is also hydrogen. Then it has been observed that if you take R prime, the Grignard reagent is methyl magnesium bromide, then the difference, that is the distinction between C phase and re phase attack, the difference is becoming 2:1. So the distinction or the preferential attack is in this ratio 2:1. So this is 2 and this is 1. So the major product, the favorable product is in the 2 and this is in 1. Now if we increase the size of this R group to ethyl from methyl, then the steric interaction of this S group will be more, and it has been observed that X is to Y is becoming 2.5:1. Okay, so the ratio has increased, and if we further increase the size to up to phenyl group, then you will see that X is to Y is becoming more than 4:1. Okay, so then the preference is actually increasing with increasing the more steric interaction. Okay, so This is how it is. Everybody understood this one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Now, so this rule that L group will be always opposite to oxygen is not correct. Not always. There is some exception. Okay. In a very rare cases, the reaction can be not only depend on the steric interaction, but also in some cases it depends on complexation, hydrogen bonding, nucleophilicity, dipole-dipole interaction, etc. For example, if you have alpha chloroaldehyde, so here you have, let's say, a large group, a medium group, and a chloride. Let's say this is the smallest group. So this should be, so the large group should be here. This Cl should be somewhere here. But it appears that oxygen has 2 lone pairs, chlorine has 3 lone pairs available here. So this lone pair, they have a very strong dipole-dipole repulsion. And because of that, this chlorine always assumes an anti-orientation to that of oxygen. Okay. So this is basically an exception of this rule in this case. Okay. Okay. Now that you have understood Cramp's rule, there is another scientist, basically another two scientists, Felkin and Arndt. What they found is that, or according to their rule, they says that the most important conformation of a carbonyl compound with a stereogenic center adjacent to the carbonyl group are those that place the largest group perpendicular to the CO. In case of Cramp's rule, it was opposite anti to carbonyl C double bond O, but Felkin-Arndt's modification says the largest group will be perpendicular to the CO. So in case of Cramp's rule, again the same compound we are translating into this model. In Cramp's model, L was placed opposite anti to O, so M could come here, S could come here. But in case of Felkin-Arndt's model, this L is placed perpendicular to this oxygen, because in that case your L group and your R group will not have more steric interaction, much steric interaction. So to stabilize the conformation, the initial conformation, this large group has been placed perpendicular to this carbonyl carbon C double bond O bond. Okay. Then you can easily imagine that if this is the conformation one case, this L could also come to this other side. This could be in this side and this could be also in other side like this. Then what happens? M, so 180-degree rotation, L is coming here, then M will come here, S will go there. So S has come here, M has come here. Clear? Very simple. We are rotating the back carbon 180 degree. So L is coming here, S is going here, and M is coming here. Now we have then these two conformations which are possible, considering this postulate that the largest group will be perpendicular to the C double bond O. Now the question is, nucleophile will then attack from which place? We already know that nucleophile attacks nearly 107 degree, which is called Burgi-Donich trajectory. So mostly this nucleophile will attack either from this face or from this face. Now then attack from this face will be favorable because you have a smallest group, so the steric interaction will be much less. But if the attack happens from this face, you have a largest group. The approach will be hindered because of this large groups. Correct? So the nucleophilic attack from this direction will lead to the major product, but this direction generally the attack would not happen. This is from this conformation. What about this conformation? In this conformation, again, this is your Burgi-Donich trajectory. Attack from this direction will not be a favorable one because you have the largest group. Attack from this one could be favorable because you have the medium group. So we will get one product from this conformation, another product from this conformation. Which one will be the major? This one will be the major, because in this case you have the smallest group here. and in this case you have the medium group here. It's basically nothing but the same. In this case, the attack happens from here is the major one because you have the smallest group here, and the minor product happens from here. You have the medium group here. Okay. In this case, you have two possibility for two different conformation. In this case, the attack will be major because you have the smallest group here. In this case, the attack will be minor because you have the medium group here. Got it? Clear?
Sir, are they saying the same thing or are they saying different things? Because in the first case, in the Cram's rule, we had not drawn L perpendicular to the carbonyl group.
No, in this case, L should be anti to oxygen. So this L is basically eclipsed with this R group. Okay, you cannot draw exactly on top, so you draw it somewhere here. Okay, so this oxygen and L, these are anti to each other, and this L and R are eclipsed to each other. But in this case, you have L and O which are perpendicular to each other, so they have 90-degree angle. This is the only difference. Okay.
So, which rule has to be used depends upon the reactant. If the reactant is of the form which is in the first diagram, then we'll use Cram's rule. And if it is like this, if it is perpendicular to O, then it should be the second one.
Yeah, it is actually, you think in the other way around. So basically you get the product and then you see their basically you can study their mechanism, see their crystal structure, maybe trap their transition state or something, and then you can find out which model it is actually following. Okay. So for academic purpose, what we will say that, okay, apply Felkin-Arns model and figure out what would be the product. Okay. Do you understand what I said?
So could you please again explain the Felkin-Ends model, like from where the nucleophile will attack?
Yeah. Okay. So you have now understood the difference between these two models, the Cram's model and the Felkin-Arns modification. This is not another model, but this is just a modification. So in Cram's model, the L is opposite. In Felkin-Arns model, it is perpendicular. That is the only difference. Now, so if it is perpendicular, there could be one small here, medium here. This is one conformation. L could be on the other side. This is another conformation. Now you have possibility of your nucleophilic attack from this direction or from this direction. This direction attack will be favorable because you have this less steric interaction because you have smallest group. In this direction attack will not be a favorable one because you have the large group. Similarly, in this case, this direction attack will not be a favorable one because you have the largest group. In this attack will be favorable one because you have the medium group. So in this case, you will then get one product where the nucleophile is attacking from here. Got it? In this case, you will get one product where the nucleophile is attacking from here. Now this product versus this product, which one will be major? This one, because in this case nucleophile is attacking from the small group, and in this case nucleophile is attacking from the medium group. In this case it will face a little bit more steric interaction compared to this case. So this will lead to the major product, this will lead to the minor product. Got it?
So why nucleophile will not attack from the smaller group size in the second molecule?
In this case, yeah. So that is what I said is the Burki-Dunez trajectory. Burki-Dunez trajectory, if you see this model in 3 dimensions, then you will understand this one much better. Or maybe just look at the model that is drawn in Clayden's book. Okay, this is given in a very really like colorful and 3D image way. You can easily understand there. So it is, if you see the model, it is only possible that the nucleophilic attack would be possible towards this direction and not towards this direction. Okay, because it has to satisfy this 107 degree. How this 107 degree is fulfilled from this direction can be, that answer can be given if you see the Clayden's 3D arrangement thing. Then you will understand how this 107 degree is forming here. Okay, so Yeah, to simply understand that the attack from this direction or this direction, this angle is favorable, and this angle is basically your Burgi-Dunich trajectory, Burgi-Dunich angle. Okay, so it cannot attack from this direction. It can only attack from this direction. Okay, so that is why the product that is coming from this direction is the major product. Product that is coming from this direction is the minor product. Okay.
Yes.
So this model is called Falkin-Arns model, or you can say it Falkin-Arns modification. Okay. Now let's see one or two example. Let's say this is our starting material. Let's say I said that this is your compound. The stereochemistry of this carbon is S, and I give you a reagent, that is methyl magnesium bromide. What will be the product? So this would be the question in your question paper. This will be the question. Then how would you draw it? How would you answer it? First, you would convert this into either a Sohor's kind of projection formula or directly into a Newman projection formula. Keeping the stereochemistry fixed, some student they draw it in a wrong way. Wrong way means the stereochemistry becomes changed. I said this is a stereochemistry. You check here. So the front carbon is number 1 priority. This phenyl is second priority. This methyl is in third priority. So A2, B2, C anti-clockwise. So this is an A stereochemistry for this carbon that is in the back center. Do you see it? Could you see this one? What I said? So
No, sir.
okay, this carbon, the front carbon becomes your, yeah. So the front carbon, actually I should have written this in Sohor's projection sort of formula like this. If I write this one in this way, it would be easier. Let's see if this has the S. So L is, if it is phenyl, and this is methyl, A2, B2, yeah. So it is basically the same. Okay, let's say L is phenyl. Here you have phenyl, methyl, and hydrogen. Like so, this is the L, M, S. Got it? Come here. So this is your phenyl, that is the L, methyl, that is the medium, and hydrogen, that is the S. Then this is your CO, and what is there? CHO. So this R is H, but this carbon center is your number 1 priority. Correct? This is your number 1 priority, this is your number 2 priority, this is your number 3 priority. So A2, B2, C anti-clockwise. So this is an S carbon center. Got it? Now convert this one into Newman projection formula like this one. So this is your C double bond O and R is basically H. Then your phenyl comes towards the right, methyl comes in the top, hydrogen comes in the bottom. Then what happens? Because this is your S center and this we have converted here. So then A2, this is your L, B, B, and this is C. A2, B2, C. This is in anti-clockwise direction. That is why this center is an S center. Could you see this one now or not yet? Got it? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you try it at home, you will understand it, what I'm saying. So basically this carbon center is in the back. Okay, this carbon center is in the back and this carbon center is in the front. So you need to arrange this L, M and S in such a way that the stereochemistry remains S. So this is an S stereochemistry, and if you see here, the back carbon is also in this S stereochemistry. Okay, so now you I mean just calm down and then think in your mind, and then you will find that yes, it is basic. I mean just visualize, try to visualize that carbon center, and you will see that that is also an S carbon center like here. So A2, B2, C, A, B, C anti-clockwise. So this is an S carbon center. Similarly here, so this front carbon, this is A, this large carbon B, this medium carbon C, A2, B2, C anti-clockwise, because your small carbon is in the back side. So this is A2, B2, C. So this is an S carbon center. Okay. Okay. Yeah, if you do not understand, you can ask me in the next class. I will again explain. Okay.
So actually your pointer and slides are lagging.
Okay. So should I explain it one more time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. 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 So let's say what I said here is phenyl, methyl, and hydrogen. Okay. Phenyl is your large, methyl is your medium, hydrogen is your small, correct? And the carbon center stereochemistry is S. Okay, S means what? It has to be anti-clockwise, the priority sequence. Now, this L is phenyl, this M, this is methyl, and this S, this is hydrogen. If this is the case, then priority sequence rule tells that this carbon center is A because it is connected with oxygen. This is A, this is B, this is C. A to B to C, which is anti-clockwise. So it is an S configuration, correct? So this is matching to the question that I gave. So this question, it is matching to this one, correct? Now, we have to now convert this one into a Newman projection formula.
Sir, except which is A, B, and C, we are able to understand everything, I think, because when your pointers are pointing at A, we are not actually seeing which is A. The pointer
Okay,
is lagging.
okay. So this carbonyl oxygen, this carbonyl carbon, that becomes your A, correct? Because that carbon is connected with oxygen, so that becomes your highest priority. Then in L, it is connected with carbon, so that becomes your B. And M is methyl, so that is your C. Is it clear? Is it okay? Then your carbonyl carbon, yeah, then your carbonyl carbon A to B, B is your L, B, and M is your C. A to B to C is anti-clockwise in nature. So this carbon center is B, S stereochemistry. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now you see this Newman projection formula. What is happening in this Newman projection formula? So now you see this carbonyl carbon center, that is A, your L, that is B, your M, that is C. So A to B to C, which is anti-clockwise in nature, correct? If you imagine the stereochemistry of the back carbon, if you imagine the stereochemistry of the back carbon, that is, this is your front carbon. The back carbon is not shown here. It's not visible in Newman projection formula. But these three are connected to the back carbon. And if you see the arrangement, this carbon is your A, this carbon is your B, this carbon is your C. So A to B to C. Carbonyl carbon to L to M. Correct? So that is your A to B to C. So that is your A stereochemistry. So basically this is your arrangement for this compound. So L is your phenyl, M is your methyl, S is your hydrogen. This is what we have put here. Okay, so now do you understand how did we convert this starting material into this Newman projection formula? If you can do this one without any mistake, you can do the rest. But if you cannot do this one, you cannot do the rest. Okay? Got it? Clear? Did you understand how did I convert this one to this one? Yes or no? I want answer from everybody. Did everyone understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, since you have, now that you have achieved your desired Newman projection formula, now the thing is very simple. So this is methyl magnesium bromide. Methyl minus will attack from this direction. You know this is the smallest one. Correct? So this attack will come from here. OH will go to the right hand side. OH has gone to the right hand side. And methyl is coming from the left hand side. So methyl is here, OH is here. And this back carbon is already fixed, methyl PHH, methyl PHH, correct? So this one now you can convert into normal COH formula. So here the convention is you put the largest group on the left hand side and you put the longest chain on the plane of the paper. If this is ethyl, you put this ethyl here. So this is how generally it is represented. Okay. Now consider the stereochemistry in the front. This is A, the back carbon is B, this is C. So A to B to C, this is S stereochemistry. Here A to B to C. So this is S stereochemistry. So the conversion is correct. The back carbon is in this case A, B, C. A to B to C. Again S. Here you see A to B to C. Again S. So both are S stereochemistry. Clear or not? Do you understand or not? Okay, yeah, you just practice at home. I am very much sure that you will understand this one. Okay, now this is only one part. What is the second part? Second part is where this phenyl group will be on the other side. Just rotate it 180 degree. Phenyl will be on the other side, methyl will be here, H will be there, and then in that case your methyl minus will attack from here, because this side attack will not be possible because methyl will be here, but that will be your major minor product. So this is your major product and you also have to write your minor product. Got it? So this is the two products you have to make. Yeah. Okay. The same way, let's say again we take the same example, pH, Me and H, and we take the S configuration. So you know that Me is coming in the front. So this is your S configuration, pH here, Me here, H here. It is the same. So this front carbon is A, this is B, this is C. A2 phenyl is B, methyl is C. The front carbon, that is your carbonyl carbon, that is your A priority. Phenyl is your B priority, methyl is your C priority. So A to B, phenyl B to methyl C, that is A to B to C anti-clockwise. So this is an S configuration, correct? Same like before. Only difference is it was H, in this case it was ET. And last time we are using Grignard reagent, this time we are using lithium aluminum hydride. So in this case the nucleophile is hydride, correct? This one. Then again in this case what you will get, the major attack will be from this way, and then you can rotate this one, pH this side, methyl this side, hydrogen up, and this attack will be the minor product. So if it attacks from this side, OH comes to the right hand side, OH is gone there, hydride will come here, so hydride is coming here, ethyl is in the bottom, ethyl is coming in the bottom, pH MEH as it is. Convert this one into the Sawhorst projection formula. You can also make it OH, left hand side H, ET, and in this case pH is coming here, methyl is going there, hydrogen is in the bottom. Then as I said, the convention is to write the longest chain on the paper. So the longest chain is pH, the bulky group will be on the left hand side, and the longest chain, that is the ethyl, that will be on the other side. But these two bonds are on the paper. Methyl is on top of the paper, OH in bottom of the paper. So let's see the stereochemistry. Let's see the stereochemistry. The stereochemistry is this is your A, this becomes your B, this becomes your C. So A to B to C clockwise. So this is your R configuration. Let's see here, A to B to C, but this is in the back. So this is actually your R configuration, correct? Let's see this one, A to B to C. This is your S configuration. See here, A to B to C. This is your S configuration. So then our product is correct. You can also write S and R, okay? And always check that whatever configuration was given to you, whether the configurations were written accurately throughout your product formation. Okay. Okay, that is all. We are done for today's class. But did you understand? I understand that today's class was a little bit intensive, but yeah, it is like that. So yeah, tell me if you have understood it, or you need, or should I repeat this class once again?
Sir, you can, if you can repeat this class once again.
Did you understand which part was difficult for you?
Sir,
So
that
the
you,
stereochemistry.
So
yeah,
basically, to correlate a given problem with the Falkenan's model, and to get the answer, that part was becoming difficult.
Okay, break down that problem into different categories. So for example, here you have three different aspects. First aspect is, so as I said, let's say in the exam, this will be your question. Okay, so if this is your question, then what is your first job to do? Your first job would be to convert your starting material into the Newman projection formula. Are you comfortable in doing that? Yes or no? Can you do that? Convert this one to the
Yes, sir.
Newman projection? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If you can do that, if this is possible for you, rest is actually very easy, because you know that the attack is measured from this side. If this attacks here, OH will come little bit towards the right hand side. It has come here. H minus is attacking from here, so H is here, and ET is already here, so it is there. You see that exactly as it is I have written, just I have added one hydrogen here. The way it approached, which side it is approached. If it approaches from other side, OH will come to the left hand side, like that. Okay. So hydrogen approached from this side, so hydrogen is attached here. Then you can convert them into the Sohor's projection formula. This is also not very difficult. It's very simple. See, OH here, OH there. Okay, hydrogen ET as it is. So the sequence should be same. OH H ET, OH H ET. Okay, sequence is same. In this case, methyl phenyl hydrogen or phenyl methyl hydrogen. Phenyl methyl hydrogen. The sequence is same. Correct? And then convert this one into this. Okay, if you don't do that, also fine. If you leave it in this step, I would accept it. Okay, just don't worry about this part, forget about this too. Okay, just leave the product in this Sohor's projection formula, but your stereochemistry has to be correct. If the stereochemistry is wrong, I will not grace you with marks, but if the stereochemistry is correct, you will get the full marks. Okay, clear? Is it clear now?
Sir, actually, we need to practice it by ourselves. Then only we could say that it is absolutely clear or not.
Okay, okay. So then in the next class, you ask me if it is not very clear to you. Okay, I will explain it one more time then. Okay. Okay.
sir, but before next class, we have a test now on Sunday.
Yes, we have a test. So then in that case, you can ask me by tomorrow by email. Okay, by tomorrow evening you can ask me by email. Then I can explain if there is any, if you have any doubt. I strongly feel that you will understand now, because you have understood from here to here. If this much you have understood, the rest too is very simple. You just need to calm down your mind, and then in a very quiet place you think, and then you will be able to convert this one into this one. It's not, it is very simple. It's very simple. Okay, only this part could be a little bit difficult, but this part you have understood. So these two are not very difficult. It's very simple. Okay, so I will give a quick recap of today's class because we have Sunday exam. So I think, so you understood rephase and C phase. That is not a very difficult thing. And then what we said, if we have a stereogenic center here adjacent to the prokaryote center, then the discrimination between D phase and C phase will be different. So then we have two different models. One is Cram's rule. It says that your largest group will be opposite to oxygen, opposite to this C double bond O oxygen, and then you have the largest group is opposite to this. Then you have a small and a medium which is adjacent to your carbonyl group. Then the attack will be favorable from the side where your small group is here. So this will be your major product, and this side attack will be your minor product. You see the product accordingly from here. And then we said that there is another model which is called Felkin-Ernst model, which says that the largest group will be perpendicular to this oxygen. Okay, so if it is perpendicular to this oxygen, then the nucleophilic will attack in a major contribution where it is attacking from the smallest group, and the minor product will happen where the attack is happening from the medium sized group. Okay, so this attack gives you the major product. Then we gave two examples where we have this compound A stereochemistry. We convert this into a Newman projection formula. Then the nucleophile is attacking from this direction, which is giving the major product. So this you can convert into a Sawhorse projection formula. That I will accept it if it is difficult for you to draw in this fashion. Although this is desirable, but if you draw it in Sawhorse projection formula, also I will give you the full marks. Okay. Similarly, in this case, if we are using lithium aluminum hydride, then also it is attacking from the smallest group's direction side. Okay, and then this comes to this Newman projection formula, convert it into the Sawhorse projection formula. And then, as I said, the rule is the bulky group will be on the left side, the longest chain will be on the plane of the paper, and then the smallest group will be like upside or the down of the plane and paper. That is the convention. Okay, if you can convert into this, it would be really good. If you cannot, if you write only this part, it's also okay. Okay. So then we will have an exam. I was about to also show you the answer script of the last class, but I think today it has already been 6 o'clock, so we can discuss maybe sometimes later. Okay, maybe in the next class we can do.
Sir, do we have to apply this Cram's rule and Filkin's rule in the previous whatever you have taught us till now?
Previously means for any reaction.
Yes, sir, for all the reactions like for NaBH4 or for LiAlH4 and all other reactions.
Okay, so it is basically a model. As I said, it is basically a stereochemical aspect. So if you see that in previous cases, you never had this situation where you have a stereogenic center adjacent to the carbonyl carbon, right? This is the first time we are introducing the stereogenic center close to the carbonyl carbon. That is why these models came up here. So in all other case, actually it does not matter because your D phase and C phase are equivalent, right? So only when you have a stereogenic center, stereogenic center close to the prokaryote center, then actually this situation comes. So the question will be in that way. So what will happen in this? Explain using Felkin-Ernst model or explain using Cram's rule.
Sir?
Okay, sir. So it has been mentioned in the question.
Sir, if you are okay with it, can you discuss the answers? It's just 10 questions. We don't mind.
Okay, if you have time, I have no problem. I can.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, let me first stop the recording because.
Sir, could you just let it be? Like if the recording is still continued.
Okay. Okay. Can you see that now? let's say I have taken this answer script from Divya Nina Sharma. Okay, this was your first question. Like you put NaOH and HCl. So I think almost all of you have answered it correctly. Not a problem. Okay, almost all of you have answered it. This is the answer. Okay. So of course it will attack to this aldehyde, and then the hydrate transfer will happen from this aldehyde H to this carbon center. Okay, like this. And then yeah, this hydrate is getting transferred. So this is your product. And second question, this is also all of you have answered. You know, lithium aluminum hydride can reduce both aldehyde and ester. Sodium borohydride will reduce only the aldehyde. Okay. Third question is again, sodium borohydride cannot reduce this ester. No reaction. Lithium aluminum hydride can reduce to form 2OH. Okay. In this case, this double bond is not conjugated, so it will not be reduced by lithium aluminum hydride. Only this one will be reduced. The CHO. Okay, here the pointer will not come. So in the first case, so this A and B is correct because the double bond will remain intact in case of A, but in case of B, the double bond is in conjugation with this aldehyde, so it will also be reduced. In case of this one, this is a little bit tricky because you always think that okay, meta means this is more reactive, but it's not the case. For electron withdrawing case, para is the one which is in conjugation with nitrogen, with NO2 group, nitrogen dioxide. So I think one or two have done this mistake. So you have attacked with meta CHO. It's not the case. It should be the para CHO. This is the one. Okay. And then if you have written this answer, it's also full marks. If you have given after acidification, if you have made this lactone, then also I will give you the full marks. Okay. Yeah, this one, not a single one of you has done given the other products also. So you have done this partly correct, that your glyoxal is more reactive. So NaOH will attack here first, then the hydrate transfer will happen to this benzaldehyde. So these two products are correct, but this hydrate transfer could also happen intramolecularly, isn't it? We have seen that, no? Glyoxal intramolecular hydrate transfer. That product nobody has written. I was wondering why not? Okay.
Sir, it is written there in the below.
Intermolecular Cannizzaro reaction.
Yes, sir. In like below, I have mentioned that one in which intramolecular is taking place.
Okay, I mean for intermolecular product, this is the one, but you also have a possibility, no? For
Sir, I have also written the intramolecular product of glyoxal.
You have written? Okay.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay, then it's fine.
Yes, sir. In the copy that you are showing, it is also there. Like there is CH2OH
Okay.
and then
No. You have
citric
written it
acid.
here, but not many people. Okay. So only one or two have given this, but not many people has given this intramolecular product. Okay. Yeah, but intramolecular way, CH2H. Okay. You have given it here. Okay. Yeah, this I have considered, but I think for most of the people, they have not given this product. Okay, only these two products they have given. That is what I know.
Sir, so like I wanted to ask that in such kind of questions where there are multiple possibilities, so we have to mention all of them, right?
Yeah.
Like if you see, yeah, like if you see in the bottom, I have also mentioned the two products that are made by the phenyl one. So like that is also one possibility.
Yeah, no, that possibility is not a very good possibility because in this case, your glyoxal CHO is more reactive than the benzaldehyde CHO. So that possibility is very faint. That possibility is not. I mean, it is.
Like, but the minor amount will be there.
Yeah, it is a possibility, but that is not a considerable one. Okay, so the main possibilities are this one, and this one. Okay, like PHOH, the CHO and COOH, and CH2OH, COOH. These three are the main
Sir,
possibilities.
among these, which is the major one? How do we know that? How do we decide that?
Yeah, that I think you cannot know, or you cannot predict all the time. So if you write in this way, it is also fine. That will be shown by seeing the experimental results. Okay. So, but logically, what is the major product? That if you can write, that is good enough. Okay. Okay. The next experiment, the next example is also the same. In this case also one should have written all the possibilities. So in this case mainly this one is carboxylic acid and this one is alcohol, but the other side is not I think not given. Okay, I mean this H could be given to one of these PHCHO, and the D could be given to one of the CDO. I think one or two have written that one, but not the majority. Okay. Okay. This one, I think, except one or two, I think all of you have done it correctly. It will form CCl3 because your CCl3 is a good leaving group. Instead of hydride donation, it will give up the CCl3 group. Okay, so you generate a chloroform and carboxylate anion or carboxylic acid. In this case, it is quite straightforward. I have already done this in the class. So this is everybody has done right. And last one. Yeah, this one will also have a multiple product. You have written only two, but there could be another one where both the CHO will be reacting and both the CHO CH2OH will be on the same side. So CH2OH CHO, COO CO2 minus CHO, and then COO minus COO minus and CH2OH CH2OH. So all four possibility could be possible. All four could be possible. Okay. Okay. So that is all. I hope you understood now. So yeah, let's have another exam on Sunday, then 5 p.m. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me by tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Then see you on next Thursday. Okay. Just hold on.